Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I have another giant book haul. So full transparency, I did buy all of these in March. It is now May. I think part of the reason I was putting this off for so long is because after I film this video, I'm gonna have to find spots to put all these books, and I do not have room for them. So that's gonna be fun. I did buy all of these with birthday money that I got. My birthday was in March. I have 4 bags and 1 box of books to go through today. It looks like a lot. Most of these were just me buying the rest of the series of books that I have the first book of, which I know that's not a great idea, and I should probably at least read the first book before I buy the rest of the series, but the way my brain works, I'll go to pick up the first book in the series, but then if I don't have the rest of the books to follow up, my brain will be like, oh no, you can't pick that up, you don't have the rest of them. Which I don't know why I do that. I'd probably save a lot of money if I didn't do that. Yeah, so I made 2 trips to Barnes & Noble, and then I bought some books online because I couldn't find them at either of the Barneses that I went to. So I think I'm just gonna go through all these in order from when I bought them. So we'll start with my first Barnes trip. I am a Barnes & Noble member, so I got a cute little free tote bag when I went. This one's so cute, and I've wanted to use it, but it's been storing my books. So maybe now that I'm filming this video, I can start using this tote bag. I am gonna go through these, and I'm gonna read you the synopsis on the back of the books because I bought these 2 months ago and I don't even remember what some of them are about, so I think to make it easier, I'm just gonna read them to you. Okay, to start off, I did buy a couple standalones, so they're all in this bag. First book I bought is Wayward by Amelia Hart. I saw some people reading this book for springtime. We're almost into summer now because I waited so long to film this video, but I'm so excited for it. It's supposed to be about witchcraft. Okay, so in the synopsis on the back, it gives us 3 different years. So it says 2019. Under cover of darkness, Kate flees London for Wayward Cottage. Inherited from a great aunt she barely remembers. With its tumbling ivy and overgrown garden, the cottage is worlds away from the abusive partner who tormented Kate. But she begins to suspect that her great aunt had a secret, one that lurks in the bones of the cottage, hidden ever since the witch hunts of the 17th century. 1619. Altha's awaiting trial for the murder of a local farmer who was stampeded to death by his herd. When Altha was a girl, her mother taught her their magic, one rooted in a deep knowledge of the natural world. But unusual women have always been deemed dangerous, and as evidence for witchcraft is set out against Altha, she knows it will take all her powers to maintain her freedom. 1942. As World War II rages, Violet is trapped in her family's grand crumbling estate. Straitjacketed by societal convention, she longs for the robust education her brother receives, and for her mother, long deceased, who was rumored to have gone mad before her death. The only traces Violet has of her are a locket bearing the initial W and the word Wayward scratched into the baseboard of her bedroom. Weaving together the stories of 3 extraordinary women across 5 centuries, Wayward is an enthralling novel of female resilience and the transformative power of the natural world. So that sounds very interesting to me. I love witchcraft, and the witch trials have always been interesting for me to read about, so I'm very excited for this. Second book is In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune. I have Under the Whispering Door by this author too, I haven't picked it up. This one's supposed to be a sci-fi kind of book. Deep in the heart of a peculiar forest and a strange little home built into the branches of trees is a family assembled from spare parts. 3 robots, fatherly inventor android Giovanni Lawson, a pleasantly sadistic nurse machine, a small vacuum desperate for love and attention, and a human, Victor Lawson. The day Vic salvages and repairs an unfamiliar android labeled HAP, he learns of a shared dark past between Hap and Geo, a past spent hunting humans. When Hap unwillingly alerts robots from Geo's former life to their whereabouts, Geo is captured and taken back to his old laboratory in the City of Electric Dreams. So together, the rest of Vic's assembled family must journey across an unforgiving and otherworldly country to rescue Geo from decommissioning, or worse, reprogramming. Along the way to save Geo, amid conflicted feelings of betrayal and affection for Hap, Vic must decide for himself. Can he accept love with strings attached? So yeah, I thought this looked interesting. And people have a lot of really good things to say about this author, I feel so I wanted to read one of their books. And this was some special edition, so there's gears sprayed onto the edges. Which, now that I'm thinking about it, I probably should have picked up like a regular copy, because I don't know, I have a weird thing about reading special editions of books because like I don't want to ruin them. But yeah, that's the next book. Next up we have The Bad Ones by Melissa Albert. This one was like on a table somewhere, and it was like, I think at the time it was a new release, which, you know, this was a couple months ago, but yeah, I'll read you the synopsis. Okay, so first up, in this like big print, it says, "Goddess, goddess, count to 5 in the morning, who's alive?" In the course of a single winter's night, 4 people vanish without a trace across a small town. Nora's estranged best friend Becca is one of the lost. As Nora tries to untangle the truth of Becca's disappearance, she discovers a darkness in her town's past, as well as a string of coded messages Becca left for her to unravel. These clues lead Nora to a piece of local lore, a legendary goddess of forgotten origins who played a role in Nora and Becca's own childhood games. An arresting crossover horror fantasy threaded with dark magic, The Bad Ones is a poison pen love letter to semi-toxic best friendship, the occult power of childhood play and artistic creation, and the razor-thin line between make-believe and belief. That sounds very interesting to me. Yeah, I love like mythology, and like this picture reminded me of like the Weeping Angels from Doctor Who, which I never watched Doctor Who, but I took like a Gothic literature class in high school, and I'm pretty sure we watched that episode in class one time, and yeah, I really liked it. So horror fantasy and dark magic, I'm very excited for this. Okay, and the last of the standalones for this trip is She's Gone by David Bell. The headline says, "How can you lie when you can't remember the truth?" And the synopsis is, when 17-year-old Hunter Gifford wakes up in the hospital the night of homecoming, he's shocked to learn that he and his girlfriend, Chloe Summers, have been in a terrible car accident. Hunter has no memory of the crash, and his shock turns to horror when he is told Chloe's blood has been found in the car, but she has disappeared. Back at school, his fellow students taunt him, and his former best friend starts making a true crime documentary about the case, one that points the finger directly at Hunter. And just when things can't get any worse, Chloe's mother stands in front of the entire town at candlelight vigil and accuses Hunter of murder. Under the mounting pressure from the police, Hunter takes matters into his own hands by questioning anyone who might know the truth and posting videos to prove his innocence. When Hunter learns he and Chloe were seen arguing loudly outside the dance, he faces a sickening possibility. Was he angry enough to kill the person he loved? Yeah, this one is supposed to have like a shocking twist at the end, but I guess we'll see. Okay, now we're moving on to series that I bought to finish. So I guess I kind of lied to you, because I also just bought like whole series. I did buy the rest of the books in some of the series, but I also just bought whole other series. So first up, we have Vow of Thieves and Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. Okay, so this one is the second one. This one, okay, Dance of Thieves is the first. Yeah, I'm just gonna read you the back of the first one. A formidable outlaw family that claims to be the first among nations. A son destined to lead, thrust suddenly into power. 3 fierce young women of the Rattan, the Queen's premier guard. A legendary street thief leading a mission determined to prove herself. A dark secret that is a threat to the entire continent. When outlaw leader meets reformed thief, a cat-and-mouse game of false moves ensues, bringing them intimately together in a battle that may cost them their lives and their hearts. It sounds very romancy from the back, and we all know how I feel about romance books, but I feel like it was really popular on TikTok for a little bit. I have FOMO, so I picked it up, but yeah, I'm excited to see if I even like these. Okay, next up I bought the next 2 books in the Inheritance Games series, A Hawthorne Legacy and The Final Gambit by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I did already have the Inheritance Games. I guess I'll read you the back of the Inheritance Games. I feel like that would make the most sense. Okay, secret passages, elaborate riddles, billions at stake. Avery Grams has a plan for a better future. Survive high school, win a scholarship, and get out. But her luck changes in an instant when billionaire Tobias Hawthorne dies and leaves her virtually his entire fortune. The only catch? Avery must move into his sprawling mansion full of secret passages, riddles, and codes. Unfortunately for Avery, Hawthorne House is also occupied by the family that was just disinherited. This includes the 4 Hawthorne grandsons, dangerous, magnetic boys who grew up with every expectation that one day they would inherit billions. Heir apparent Grayson is convinced that Avery is a conwoman, and he's determined to take her down. But his brother Jameson views her as their grandfather's last hurrah, a twisted riddle, a puzzle to be solved. Caught in a world of wealth and privilege, with a danger around every turn, Avery will have to play the game herself just to survive. Yes, first book, bought the other two in the series. I know there's also like the Brothers Hawthorne, I think, was the last book released. But from what I've heard, it's not technically part of the series. It's just like following the brothers a little bit, like in their backstory. I could be wrong. Feel free to correct me in the comments. Tell me if I need to buy another book. But yeah, finished out that series. Okay, last in this bag is I bought The Villain's Duology by V.E. Schwab. That's Vicious and Vengeful. Oh, it comes with... oh, poster too. That's kind of cute. I don't really understand it, but sneaking suspicion that I will understand it when I read the books. Okay, Vicious. Victor and Eli started out as college roommates, brilliant, arrogant, lonely boys who recognized the same sharpness and ambition in each other. In their senior year, a shared research interest in adrenaline, near-death experiences, and seemingly supernatural events reveals an intriguing possibility that under the right conditions, someone could develop extraordinary abilities. But when their thesis moves from the academic to the experimental, things go horribly wrong. Ooh, I kind of forgot what this was about. Now I'm kind of excited. I love these covers. This one is like a weird material though. It's like grainy almost. Like, I don't know. This one is like normal feeling. I don't know. I don't like this texture, but I'm excited to read these. Okay, you can kind of see those starting to pile up in the back. Okay, on to bag number 2. This is from the same Barnes trip. I literally walked out of that Barnes & Noble with 3 bags. I'm sure everyone thought I was crazy, but I am, so that's okay. I also bought The Atlas Paradox. I already had The Atlas 6, and there's a third book, The Atlas Complex, I think. And I would have picked that one up, but at the time I bought these, I think either it hadn't come out in paperback. I don't know if it's come out in paperback. I haven't checked, but or the Barnes I went to just didn't have the paperback in stock, so I just bought this one. Again, I'm just going to read you the back of Atlas 6 because I feel like that makes more sense than reading you the synopsis of the second book. Each decade, only the 6 most uniquely talented magicians are selected to earn a place in the Alexandrian Society, the foremost secret society in the world. The chosen will secure a life of power and prestige beyond their wildest dreams, but at what cost? Each of the 6 newest recruits has their reasons for accepting the society's elusive invitation, even if it means growing closer than they could have imagined to their most dangerous enemies, or risking unforgivable betrayal from their most trusted allies. They will fight tooth and nail for the right to join the ranks of the Alexandrians, even if it means they won't all survive the year. So yes, I heard a lot about this. I think it was Haley Pham who read this book and loved it. But yes, magicians try to join secret society, very high stakes from what I've heard. Next series I finished is the rest of the books in the Truly Devious series. I did already have Truly Devious, so I bought The Vanishing Stare, The Hand on the Wall, The Box in the Woods, and 9 Liars. I think, from what I heard, it was supposed to be a trilogy, and then these might be standalones, but like in the same universe. I have no idea. Yeah, I don't know. But it's supposed to be very like fall vibes, like maybe dark academia? I don't know. One thing I'm kind of annoyed at is that this one is like a different material than the rest of the covers. Like these are like kind of satiny finish and this one's like very glossy, but I'm like someone who needs like all the covers to match, so like that's the reason I didn't buy the rest of the Atlas 6 series, like the last book, because if I just had one hardcover book in that series, I would have hated that. So this one's a different material, kind of annoying, but yeah, I'll read you the back of Truly Devious. Ellingham Academy is a famous private school in Vermont, founded by an early 20th century tycoon for the best and brightest students around. When Ellingham's wife and daughter were kidnapped, the only clue was a mocking riddle listing methods of murder signed with the frightening pseudonym Truly Devious. Their disappearance became one of the great unsolved crimes in history. Many years later, true crime aficionado Stevie Bell is set to begin her first year at the academy, and she is determined to solve this cold case. That is, she will solve it when she gets a grip on her demanding new school life and her housemates, the inventor, the novelist, the actor, the artist, and the jokester. But Truly Devious makes a surprise return. The past has crawled out of its grave, and someone has gotten away with murder. Truly Devious is the first novel in a murder mystery trilogy by New York Times bestselling author Maureen Johnson. So I guess these are the series, and these are, I don't know, I'll figure it out, but the rest of that series. Okay, next up, I bought the rest of the books in the Caraval series by Stephanie Werber. So I have Legendary and Finale. I already had Caraval, obviously. Okay, so this one, Scarlet Dragna has never left the tiny island where she and her sister Tella live with their powerful and cruel father. Now Scarlet's father has arranged a marriage for her, and Scarlet thinks her dreams of seeing Caraval, the faraway once-a-year performance where the audience participates in the show, are over. But this year, Scarlet's long-dreamt-of invitation finally arrives. With the help of a mysterious sailor, Tella whisks Scarlet away to the show. Only as soon as they arrive, Tella is kidnapped by Caraval's mastermind organizer, Legend. It turns out that this season's Caraval revolves around Tella, and whoever finds her first is the winner. Scarlet has been told that everything that happens during Caraval is only an elaborate performance, but she nevertheless becomes enmeshed in a game of love, heartbreak, and magic with the other players in the game, and whether Caraval is real or not, she must find Tella before the 5 nights of the game are over. A dangerous domino effect of consequences is set off, and her sister disappears forever. Not thrilled about the romance that it's hinting at. From what I've heard, this one isn't too romance heavy. It's like the Once Upon a Broken Heart series that's like part of this world that's like the romance, but I could be wrong. And usually I'm okay with romance as long as it's like a subplot and it's not like the driving force of the book. Yeah, I just get annoyed with romance books because it's like, I don't know, I just feel like it's like cringy and like predictable, and I don't know, I've just never been a fan. Some of you are gonna hear me say that and be like, oh, she wants to be different so bad. No, I want to be like a cute little aesthetic romance girly. I just can't. I've tried and I just can't. I would love to be that, but I'm not. So, but yes, bought those 2 books to finish out that series. And the last books in this bag are the rest of the Shatter Me series. Again, this is one that I had the first book to. These are probably not in order, but yes, I bought the rest of the books, and I also bought the novellas. So I have the whole series. I'll read you the back of Shatter Me. Okay. The moon understands what it means to be human, uncertain, alone, cratered by imperfections. No one knows why Juliet's touch is fatal, but the re-establishment has plans for her, plans to use her as a weapon. But Juliet has plans of her own. After a lifetime without freedom, she's finally discovering a strength to fight back for the very first time, and to find a future with the one boy she thought she'd lost forever. In the electrifying first book in the Shatter Me series, Tara Maffei presents a riveting dystopian world, a thrilling superhero story, and an unforgettable heroine. Yeah, I've heard that this one also has romance in it, but hopefully I'll be able to look past it, because it's like, I think it's a subplot in this series. I'm hoping, because now I have all the books. But I'm very intrigued by the dystopian touch being fatal, that concept, so I already have this book, thought I'd just pick the rest up. I don't even think you can really see these, but just know that they're in a giant stack behind me. The third and final bag for this trip. Okay, these are not going to be in order, so forgive me, but I bought the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. I did try to read the ACOTAR series and I hated it because there was so much romance, but a lot of people and like my friends told me that I would like the Throne of Glass series better because the romance is like a subplot. So I picked up the whole thing. You've probably already read Throne of Glass because I feel like everyone but me has, but I'll read you the back anyway. In a land without magic, an assassin is summoned to the castle. She has no love for the vicious king who rules from his throne of glass, but she has not come to kill him. She has come to win her freedom. If she defeats 23 murderers, thieves, and warriors in a competition, she will be released from prison to serve as the king's champion. Her name is Selena. I'm not even gonna try to say that. I feel like Sarah J. Maas always has interesting pronounced names. The crown prince will provoke her, the captain of the guard will protect her, and a princess from a faraway country will befriend her. But something rotten dwells in the castle, and it's there to kill. When her competitors start dying mysteriously, one by one, Selena's fight for freedom becomes a fight for survival, and a desperate quest to root out the evil before it destroys her world. Thrilling and fierce, Throne of Glass is the first book in the #1 New York Times best-selling series that has captivated readers worldwide. Very hyped up series, and I bought the whole thing, so love that. And then following that, I bought the second and third book in the Crescent City series by Sarah J. Maas. I did not already have the first book. I was going to buy it at this Barnes, but they did not have a hardback copy. You'll find out in a second, but I went back to a different Barnes & Noble, and just that is one of the books I picked up there, so I have the second and third in the series. Okay, that is all for my first trip. Let's move on to my second trip. I only bought 4 books. I went in only for the first Crescent City book, but I did pick up 3 others, so we'll talk about those. Okay, first book in the Crescent City series, the book that I went there for. You probably, again, have already read this because I feel like everyone but me has, but I'll read it to you anyway. Bryce Quinlan had the perfect life, working hard all day and partying all night until a demon murdered her closest friends, leaving her bereft, wounded, and alone. When the accused is behind bars but the crimes start up again, Bryce finds herself at the heart of the investigation. She'll do whatever it takes to avenge their deaths. Hunt Athalar is a notorious fallen angel, now enslaved to the archangels he once attempted to overthrow. His brutal skills and incredible strength have been set to one purpose: to assassinate his boss's enemies, no questions asked. But with the demon wreaking havoc on the city, he's offered an irresistible deal: to help Bryce find the murderer, and his freedom will be within reach. As Bryce and Hunt dig deep into Crescent City's underbelly, they discover a dark power that threatens everything and everyone they hold dear. And they find in each other a blazing passion, one that could set them both free, if they'd only let it. With unforgettable characters, sizzling romance, and a page-turning suspense, this richly inventive new fantasy series by #1 New York Times bestselling author Sarah J. Maas delves into the heartache of loss, the price of freedom, and the power of love. Yeah, my friend, she's read all of Sarah J. Maas's books, and she told me that she doesn't know if I'm gonna like this series based on the romance, but we'll see, I guess, because I have all 3 books now. I don't think the series is finished, because the 3rd book just came out. Like in January of this year, but yeah, I have the 3 that are out right now. Next up, I have The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. I feel like this one was really popular on TikTok a while ago, and Riley Sager is supposed to be a really good author. I think this will be the first book I will have read by him. It's supposed to be a good thriller. Be careful what you watch for. Casey Fletcher, a recently widowed actress trying to escape a streak of bad press, has retreated to the peace and quiet of her family's lake house in Vermont. Armed with a pair of binoculars and several bottles of bourbon, she passes the time watching Tom and Catherine Royce, the glamorous couple living in the house across the lake. They make for good viewing. A tech innovator, Tom is powerful, and a former model, Catherine is gorgeous. One day on the lake, Casey saves Catherine from drowning, and the two strike up a budding friendship. But the more they get to know each other, and the longer Casey watches, it becomes clear that Catherine and Tom's marriage isn't as perfect as it appears. When Catherine suddenly vanishes, Casey immediately suspects Tom of foul play. What she doesn't realize is that there's more to the story than meets the eye, and that shocking secrets can lurk beneath the most placid of surfaces. Yes, this will be the first book I'll read by him. I did pick up another Riley Sager book in the books that I ordered online, but yes, this is the first book I have owned by him. I've heard good things about this book and about Riley Sager in general, so I'm very excited about this one. Next is Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. This one is the first book in a series. I think the second one just came out, or it had come out when I bought this one, but the Barnes I went to only had this one in paperback and the second one in hardcover, so I picked this one up. It's just another book I'm gonna have to buy the rest of the series for, but whatever, you know. Okay, the synopsis says, it has been 27 long years since the last sunrise. For nearly 3 decades, vampires have waged war against humanity, building their eternal empire even as they tear down our own. Now only a few tiny sparks of light endure in a sea of darkness. Gabriel de Leon is a silver saint, a member of a holy brotherhood dedicated to defending realm and church from the creatures of the night. But even the Silver Order could not stem the tide once daylight failed us, and now only Gabriel remains. Imprisoned by the very monsters he vowed to destroy, the last Silver Saint is forced to tell his story. A story of legendary battles and forbidden love, of faith lost and friendships won, of the wars of the blood and the forever king and the quest for humanity's last remaining hope, the Holy Grail. Yeah, I'm not sure what I'll think about this one. I haven't heard anything about it really, but I love vampires. My favorite book is Salem's Lot by Stephen King. Yes, I love vampires, so hopefully I'll like this one. Yeah, I really haven't heard anything about it, but I picked it up anyway. so hopefully I'll like it. And then last of the books that I bought in store, I forgot I bought this one. It's If We Were Villains by Emma Rio. A lot of the booktubers I watch have read this, I think. Synopsis says, enter the players. There were 7 of us then, 7 bright young things with wide, precious futures ahead of us. Until that year, we saw no farther than the books in front of our faces. On the day Oliver Marks is released from jail, the man who put them there is waiting at the door. Detective Colborne wants to know the truth, and after 10 years, Oliver is finally ready to tell it. A decade ago, Oliver is one of the 7 young Shakespearean actors at De Letcher Classical Conservatory, a place of keen ambition and fierce competition. In this scheduled world of firelight and leather-bound books, Oliver and his friends play the same roles on stage and off. Hero, villain, tyrant, temptress, but in their 4th and final year, good-natured rivalries turn ugly, and on opening night, real violence invades the students' world of make-believe. In the morning, the 4th years find themselves facing their very own tragedy and their greatest acting challenge yet, convincing the police, each other, and themselves that they are innocent. Sounds very interesting. I did not remember that I picked this book up, and I did not remember what it was about, so pleasant surprise. Okay, last up, the books I ordered. So the first one I ordered was A Day of Fallen Night. I do already have The Priory of the Orange Tree, but this one is I think it's a prequel. My Priory of the Orange Tree is all the way up the top of my bookshelves. I'm not going to read you that one because I don't want to get up, but yes, it's a fantasy book. The first book is just as long as this one. Long books kind of scare me a little bit, the time commitment, because I'm kind of a slow reader, and also I have a full-time job, so I can't just spend all day reading, but I feel like fantasy books are good in the winter. Maybe when I'm like holed up inside in the winter, I'll read this one. Prequel to Priory of the Orange Tree. I'm excited, but not excited about how long both of these books are. Okay, my medicine alarm just went off and stopped my recording, so hopefully everything's okay, but yes, I'm gonna continue with the books that I bought online. Next up, I have Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies and Emily Wilde's Map of the Other Worlds by Heather Fawcett. These two, again, I feel like were gonna be good spring books. I did not get to them in spring. I guess it's technically spring now, but I was gonna kind of start reading summery books just because the weather here's been so nice, and I want to do like a slasher summer kind of thing for when summer's actually here. So yeah, I don't know, maybe I'll get to these, but I love summer. I'm ready to move on to summer. I guess we'll see. So the synopsis for this one. Cambridge professor Emily Wilde is a genius scholar who's writing the world's first encyclopedia of fairy lore, and Emily lives for her work. She empathetically prefers the company of her books, her dog Shadow, and the fair folk to other people. So when she arrives in a hardscrabble village in the far north, Emily wishes only to focus on her studies. She certainly doesn't have time for another new arrival, her dashing and insufferably handsome academic rival, Wendell Bambleby, who manages to charm the townsfolk, muddle Emily's research, and utterly confound and frustrate her. But as Emily gets closer and closer to uncovering the secrets of the Hidden Ones, the most elusive of all fairies, lurking in the shadowy forest outside the town, she also finds herself on the trail of another mystery. Who is Wendell Bimbleby, and what does he really want? To find the answer, she must unlock the greatest mystery of all, her own heart. So these are probably going to be a little bit more romancy than I'm wanting, but just if I'm going off the back of the book. But I love magic and fairies and all of that stuff, so hopefully I will like these. And like, I love the covers. Like, they're so cute. They're so cute. Oh, and there's a little fox on the, oh, he's so cute. Okay. Even if I end up hating these, I'll probably keep them around because I love the covers. Oh god, those are all gonna fall and you can't even see. Okay. I also picked up another Riley Sager book. This one's the only one left. I think it's his most recent release. Okay, best-selling author Riley Sager returns with a deliciously twisty and addictive gothic chiller about a young caregiver assigned to work for a woman accused of a Lizzie Borden-like massacre decades earlier. At 17, Lenora Hope hung her sister with a rope. Now reduced to a schoolyard chant, the Hope family murders shocked the Maine coast one bloody night in 1929. While most people assume 17-year-old Lenora was responsible, the police were never able to prove it. Other than her denial after the killings, she has never spoken publicly about that night, nor has she set foot outside Hope's End, the cliffside mansion where the massacre occurred. Stabbed her father with a knife, took her mother's happy life. It's now 1983, and home health aide Kit McDeer arrives at a decaying Hope's End to care for Lenora after her previous nurse fled in the middle of the night. In her 70s and confined to a wheelchair, Lenora was rendered mute by a series of strokes and can only communicate with Kit by tapping out sentences on an old typewriter. One night, Lenora uses it to make a tantalizing offer. "I want to tell you everything." "It wasn't me," Lenora said, "but she's the only one not dead." As Kit helps Lenora write about the events leading to the Hope family massacre, it becomes clear there's more to the tale than people know. But when new details about their predecessor's departure come to light, Kit starts to suspect Lenora might not be telling the complete truth, and that the seemingly harmless woman in her core could be far more dangerous than she first thought. This sounds very interesting to me. I'm gonna be completely honest, I picked this up because the cover, am I the only one who thinks this? Like, the cover reminds me of Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None. I don't know why. Like, maybe it's like the red and like the faraway house, but like, I swear this reminds me of that cover. So that's originally why I picked it up, but yes, it sounds very interesting, so I'm glad I picked it up. This will be the second Riley Sager book that I have ever owned. I haven't heard a lot about it. It could just be because it's newer. The next two books are Gone to See the Riverman and Along the River of Flesh by Christopher Triana. I feel like these books I also saw on TikTok. I saw this one, I think, in a horror book recommendation video. Superfans, groupies, stalkers. These people will give anything for the idols they worship, be they rock stars, actors, authors, or even serial killers. Laurie's obsession is with Edmund Cox, who was convicted of butchering more than 20 women. She will do anything to get close to him, so when he gives her tasks, she accepts. She has no idea the horror that awaits her. Edmund says she must go to his cabin in the woods and retrieve a key to deliver to a mysterious figure known only as the Riverman. She brings along her sister, and the trip becomes a surreal nightmare, one that digs up Laurie's personal demons. Soon she will learn the Riverman is not quite fact or folklore, and definitely not human. At least not anymore. I kind of forgot what this one is about. Now I'm excited. This one was the one that was recommended, but then I saw that there was a second book, and they're both smaller books, and like the print is not tiny, so you know, I thought, why not? These will be quick little reads to help me reach my Goodreads goal, maybe. Very excited for these. The last book I picked up is Mr. Lullaby by J.H. Markert. It says A Clear Air to Stephen King on the top, so that kind of intrigued me. This book was when I was like online shopping. You know how they'll have, like, if you scroll down, there'll be books that are like, oh, if you are interested in these books, try reading this one. I think that's where I found this one. It sounded interesting. The synopsis is: the small town of Harrods Reach has seen its fair share of macabre, especially inside the decrepit old train tunnel around which the town was built. After a young boy, Sully Dupree, is injured in the abandoned tunnel and left in a coma, the townspeople are determined to wall it up. Deputy Sheriff Beth Gardner is reluctant to buy into the superstitions until she finds two corpses at the tunnel's entrance, each left with strange calling cards inscribed with old lullabies. Soon after, Sully Dupree briefly awakens from his coma. Before falling back into a slumber, Sully manages to give his older brother a message. Sully's mind, since the accident, has been imprisoned on the other side of the tunnel in La La Land, a grotesque and unfamiliar world inhabited by evil mythical creatures of sleep. Sully is trapped there with hundreds of other coma patients, all desperately fighting to keep the evils of the dream world from escaping into the waking world. Elsewhere, a man troubled by his painful youth has for years been hearing a voice in his head he calls Mr. Lullaby, and he has finally started to act on what the voice is telling him, to kill any coma patient he can find, quickly. Something is waking up in the tunnel, something is trying to get through, and Mr. Lullaby is coming. It does sound kind of like a Stephen King concept, with like the weird supernatural kind of stuff, but if you watched my book reorganization video, you'll know I have a pretty big Stephen King collection, so I guess we'll see if this one compares Because I feel like a clear heir to Stephen King, I feel like that is like a big statement. But yeah, this is the last book I picked up. Yeah, you can't even see them behind me. But I probably should have been counting. How many books is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 46. It seems like I have a problem. I also like collecting things, so that's kind of an issue, but thank you guys for watching. I feel like most of the series I picked up are like ones that were popular a while ago, so I feel like a lot of people have already read them. So feel free to tell me your thoughts on them. I am also excited for a lot of the standalones I picked up. I kind of forgot what I picked up, so this haul was very helpful in reminding me what some of these were about. So I'm like excited to start reading some of them. Like and subscribe. Tell me your thoughts on the books I picked up, and I'll see you in my next video. Okay, I just finished filming this book haul. Yeah, I have no room for these. I love that. For me, guess I gotta figure out what to do with these.